Okay, so in this video, if you chose this one, it means you're going to be working on the algebraic method where you plug in the x, the y, and the m, and through that you'll find your y-intercept, which is your b, and you finish writing the equation. There are two choices again, and make sure that you're using the correct side of the worksheet, the side that does not have the graphs on it. We're going to start off looking at an example. This example is already completely worked out on your paper. I'm using colors in here to make it a little bit easier for you to see where things are going, but I want you to think about it as a four-step process. And we're going to start off going over the example so you can see where everything comes from. The important piece to remember here is that when you talk about this is your m, is your slope. M and slope mean the same thing. Over here on your point, this is your x, this is your y. Okay, and it's important to remember that when we go to plug things in. Okay, what we're going to do is we're trying to fill in those two blanks there. We're trying to fill in, what are my slope and what is my y-intercept? Well, we're already given the slope, so that's a pretty easy one. The slope is always the number that goes right there. So I can fill that in right away. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to start off, step one is always to start with the equation y equals mx plus b. What we're going to do is b is the thing we don't know, so we're going to fill in all the pieces that we can. So we're going to leave the b as is, and we're going to fill in the three pieces that we understand. So first, we know that the first part is y. Y matches up with 4. Okay, next, that's m. M is 2. Again, m is slope. And then x is 3. I put the multiplication sign in there to remind you, but that's because when you have an m and an x next to each other, really it means multiplication. Now you're going to go ahead and go from there and simplify again. So next step is to multiply on the right side. So take that 2 and that 3 and multiply them together, which is going to give you 6. So now we've got 4 equals 6 plus, and instead of putting b, I put a big blank square. So what you can think of is you need to figure out what number goes in that square to make sense. So in this case, kind of think about it, 6 plus something has to get down to 4, so it has to get lower. Really what has to happen is it has to get 2 subtracted. So step 4 is to determine what number would work inside of that box, which is -2, and then that's your answer, right? That goes right below it. So whatever number you get in here is the number that goes right there. So slope comes from the very beginning, and these steps are always exactly the same. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try another one. So this one's to try on your own. And again, I just want you to go ahead and go through those steps. So we're going to write the equation on the line with slope 4 through the point 1, 8. So go ahead and write, in your 4 that you know, down at the bottom. And starting at this point right here, pause the video, try to fill in the correct places, try to go through the few steps that are there on the screen, and get your answer. Hit play when you're done. Alright, so filling in the blanks, y is 8, m is 4, and x is 1. If any of those are wrong, you're going to pause it and restart from that point on. If it's correct, let's go ahead and see how you did. Alright, so multiplying the right side, we're going to get 4 times 1 is 4. And thinking about what goes inside that blank space, well, it's 4 plus something equals 8. Well, it has to be a 4 in there as well. So that means my answer is 4x plus 4. Alright, moving along to the second example, make sure you're doing the correct ones. You need to fill in the blank in there. It says slope of 3 through the point 2, 9. So again, we're going to put in the 3 down at the bottom, and starting from this point right here, pause the video and try to finish it. Okay, so first off, y is 9, m is 3, x is 2. Simplifying, that's going to give me 9 equals 6 plus blank, and that blank has to be a 3. Moving on to problem number 3. This time we have a negative, so be careful. Negative times positive is negative. Negative times negative is positive. Just try to remember that. Alright, so go ahead and fill in the -2 and start from this point. Hit play when you're ready. Alright, so 3 goes there. That's my y. My m is -2 and my x is -4. Simplifying that out, I'm going to get 3 equals 8 plus blank. What would have to go in there? Well, it has to be a negative because 3 is lower, and it ends up being -5. Okay, moving along. Number 4, write the equation of the line with slope -5 to the point 2, -4. Write in your -5. Starting from here, try to pause it, finish the problem. Okay, -4 is y, -5 is x, +2. Be very careful here to remember that negative times positive is -10. If you get a +10 there, you're going to want to stop at this point and fix your answer. So in order to get that to work, I'm starting at -10. It's got to go up, so I need to add 6 to both sides. Okay, another one to try here. See, now that we're getting further along, why don't you try to pause the video and do the entire thing. Okay, so hopefully you put a -3 in front of the x. You got your point here. Fill in the blanks. Y, m, and x. Now we're going to multiply the right side. Negative times positive is negative. Well, -9 plus something equals -9. The only thing that makes sense is 0. Okay, now on problem 6, we have a 1. Go ahead and pause it. Try to do the whole thing. Alright, hopefully you're done. So we're starting off by putting a 1 in there. And now we're going to fill in the blanks. Y is 1, m is 1, x is 5. Multiplying it out, we get 1 equals 5 plus something. It's got to get lower, so it must be negative. And 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay, moving along here. As we start to get into the examples with fractions, it's going to change slightly. In class, we had a lot of people had a difficult time coming up with how to multiply a fraction. So when we get to that point, we'll talk about it. But really what you're going to do is when you multiply a half times something, instead of doing a half times, think of half of. So what's half of 10? 5. What's half of 4? 2, like that. So pause the video, fill it out as far as you can. When you get to the multiplication part with a fraction, just remember half of. Okay, so filling it out, you should have gotten 2, 1/2, and 8. Now again, this is the part that usually people get in trouble with, but remember, what's half of 8? If you do that, it's not too hard. Half of 8 is 4. Now, 4 plus what would equal 2? Well, it would have to be a negative number, and it has to be -2. Okay, number 8 is another one with 1/2 in there to get you try it again. So pause the video, try the whole thing on your own. Alright, so the half goes in as our slope. 7 is y, half is m, x is 6. Again, we're going to take half of 6, which is 3. 3 plus what equals 7? That blank has to be a 4, and we're good. Okay, the last couple ones we're going to try a little bit different. So instead of 1/2, we're trying 1/3 this time. So remember, when you talk about 1/3, taking 1/3 of something really means dividing by 3. Okay, so filling it out, a 1 is going to go here as my y, m is 1/3, and x is 9. So now when we take 1/3 of 9, remember we're just breaking it into 3 equal pieces, which is going to be 3. 3 plus something equals 1. That something has to be a -2. And the last example, Now we're talking about 1/4. So when we take 1/4 of something, we divide it by 4. So pause the video, give it a try, hit play once you think you have the final answer. Alright, so starting off here, 8 is y, 1/4 is m, and 8 is x. So when I take 1/4 of 8, I'm dividing by 4, which is 2. 2 plus something equals 8. That something is 6. So if you chose to watch this one first, because you think you're better at it, you're going to go ahead and flip over and watch the other video now and make sure that you go through and do those practice examples. If this is your second one, great job. And you should be very ready for the test tomorrow. Remember, we're going to have a notebook check as well as a quiz tomorrow in class. So thanks again for watching the video and being on task today.